when you are surrounded by not just the clients that you serve, but hundreds of financial professionals. So, Jayson, we attend a think tank. Quan, you've now had a chance to participate to some degree there with a lot of the Nelson Nash Institute activities. You've had a chance to come to one of the coaching academies that we've done. So you've seen and experienced being in a group of financial professionals really focused on teaching Nelson's message. And when you speak to any one of those people who've been doing it for a while, and they say, "Oh, I was reading Nelson's book again. Oh, and I saw this and I saw that." And you see, like, it's like a light bulb that keeps turning on again and again and again and again. Well, that many people simply can't be wrong. When you have 300 financial professionals that say every time they read the book that they get something new out of it, it's not possible for that to be something that wouldn't happen for you. It's clear that that is something more to the work, the book, than meets the eye. And I really feel that, having heard the interpretation of a passage or a section or a paragraph of the book from different individuals, and like, oh, well, they took that information and they ran it through their life experience filter, and then it spat out this output of knowledge that is now their take on that paragraph of information. And it's like, now I get to hear and learn from their version of what they understand, and I can run that through my past history filter and see what I come up with. And so through the combination of that in a discussion, we see a way that we can all level up and grow a little bit more.
Mhm. And when you're sharing that, Richard, it makes me think of something. So in my first couple years of implementing this process, I was doing it all on my own. The only time I got to see was maybe once a year with my advisor if I had time. So getting connected with the community and exactly what Nelson talks about, you need to be in a community of people that are doing this so they can brainstorm, think of ideas of, hey, I'm doing it this way. Like you said, why don't I can apply it to my life or this and that. And then even coming up with different ideas and brainstorming with people. It's like, oh, why don't we try this way and that way? So yeah, it's just if you're doing this alone, it sucks. So getting with a group of people that are doing it is way better because then it's like when you're playing a sport or when you have a team, there's teammates that push you to get you better and better and better.
Yeah.
Same thing with this process.
Yeah, it's so true. And it I remember we did an event, this was a few years ago, and we had a group of advisors in attendance, and we were just stepping through what life is like being a part of a team versus operating, individually. And the testimonies from people in that room who were not part of the Ascendant team, but just getting exposure to the platform, all very clearly articulated that they didn't know that a platform like that existed because that's not common in the industry. What we do, and I'm sharing that from a place of integrity. I mean, it's the absolute truth. But the advisors themselves said life is much different operating individually versus what we believe we're seeing here is part of this team that has come together, and we all do push each other to be better, and we hold each other accountable in a way that comes from a place of respect and a place of caring, and you cannot put a price tag on that. If you were to contrast results, like we get asked all the time, or at least I do, from other principals at other agencies in this business, how is it possible that you have an advisor who started day one and by month 24 they're at the rate of production that they're at? How is that even possible? And it's a direct result of people, the process, the system, the method, technology. The list goes on and on. But I'd love to hear your perspective on that, Quan.
Absolutely. And so it was funny because I still have a picture the very first day that there was a recruitment at in Edmonton. I told my wife on the drive, she took a picture of me and I said, "Hey honey, take a picture. This is my first day of school, my first day of learning again, all over again." After doing different careers. And I said, "This is my first day." So we have that picture and I love it. and I knew what it was because I saw what you were sharing on YouTube. It was mostly you, Jason, Sarblo, and Richard. That was kind of what I saw there. And then when I went to that recruitment day and you were sharing the platforms and everything else and compressing that time frame, because there's a lot of us that are older in life,
Yeah.
right? Just different career paths. There's a lot of risk that we have to take to jump into a new career. And with what Ascendant has built, it helps mitigate a lot of those risks. And then it goes back down to exactly what becoming your own banker is about. It's all about behavior.
Mm.
So it's my behavior that's going to determine my success with my new career. Kind of like the same thing as people's behavior when they have when they have their system. It's their behavior that determines how successful that system is going to be.
So true.
When you talked about the importance of not going it alone or being a lone ranger, and that importance of a community. And so, from a client perspective, there was you doing this on your own in your own personal life and feeling that way, and now being a part of the team from an advisory standpoint, having all those things available. But I just want to kind of pivot and talk about the client experience a little bit. And so now you have your own experience of doing this effectively on your own, running it solo, and now you see what's taking place with the people who are able to tap into the various resources that we have available for them. So, Quan, you've attended a number of the quarterly group coaching sessions that we've done. I don't know if you've been on every one, but you've certainly hit a number of them since you've been in the organization. What's the impact of those? What are some things that come up for you as you think about the people attending those, the questions asked, and the value that they're getting out of those sessions? Once every 90 days.
The impact is huge because as I was building this back in the day or doing this, there were still times when I doubted it because I didn't fully understand. I wasn't being coached properly.
Mm.
And it wasn't until another mentor of mine said, "Hey, check out this infinite banking thing." But that was also 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line. So that was that moment was validation for me to say, "Hey, I'm actually doing something right." Because I wasn't sure. It was a stab in the dark and I applied it. But with the client coaching sessions, because this is a process, like we've said in our webinars, this is a lifestyle. This is how you change how you view money and how you have it grow and finances. So if you continue sharpening the tool, then it just gets better and better and better. And that's why being connected with people, no different than real estate investors having REIT groups that they hang out with, right?
Right.
Because that's how they're going to come up with ideas and different strategies and being connected. And as a client, yeah, those are super important because then you're not just sitting here trying to think up of ideas on how you can do this and connecting with people because a lot of our clients, they're so open to sharing and coaching. We like our event in Saskatoon that we had a client that said, "Hey, if anybody has questions, give me a you guys can get my number, come talk to me, call, and I'll help you guys understand this." Because I was in the same shoes as you. So that's not from advisors, that's from a client. So it's very different.
That's fantastic. And I'm genuinely curious, like what is exciting you most right now regarding the interactions that you're having with prospective clients, with existing clients? What's bringing you the highest degree of excitement right now?
The highest degree of excitement is having people have that light bulb moment, that aha. Because some of these people, maybe it's been 2 years that they're trying to learn about this, but they're thinking it in a different frame. So they're thinking it as life insurance. Oh, it's expensive. And then they have that aha moment. Recently, I had a person that said, "I really understand this now. Now I can flow my money through this." And actually, it's my father-in-law. So I've been
Wow.
sharing with him for a while, but it was because he went to the Edmonton event and then he had an aha moment and he said, "Oh, this is much more than life insurance." And so now, after having the conversation with him, now he's got these policies and he really understands. And here's a funny story. So they were, you know how in the bank accounts they say if you leave this much amount of money, we're not going to charge you that $14 or whatever it is,
Mhm.
right? So he was starting to, because he understands, he said, "I'm gonna shift my money and put it in here." And my mother-in-law said, "But why are you doing that? We're getting that that $14. Now we have to pay the $14." And he's like, "Honey, look at how much our policy is growing. That $14 is nothing. So let's
Mm.
start shifting all of our money into here." So that was really great to see that aha moment for him.
So it's the aha moments with people.
Yes. Yeah.
How does it make you feel when it clicks for somebody?
Oh, it feels incredible because now that they have that aha moment, they're taking control of their finances. I'm not doing it for them. I'm showing them, guiding them how to do it. And now they can make those decisions on their own, what they want to do with their money. But we come up with strategies and game plans on how to do that.